Let's assume for a second that while working in After Effects we just get a little bit messy and aren't really hiding windows and just moving things around in the window area. We've got palettes grouped with other palettes that we don't know where those palettes are going, and we've just made a big mess in After Effects. What we can do is we can go up to the window, we can go down to Reset Palette Locations, and you'll notice it cleans up all the palettes and replaces them in their original order when we first opened After Effects. You'll notice that the workspace windows are still in the same place though. What we can do then is we can go to the workspace, and you'll see that here we have 1 comp, 2 comp, and 4 comp views. And what we can do here is if we select 1 comp view, After Effects will place our workspace windows and our palettes back in their original positions when we first started After Effects. The reason we might want to use 2 comp views or 4 comp views is, let's say for instance that I want to work on this one, composition, but I really need to see what it looks like from far away, or the whole image as one whole, but I really need to work in close to the image. And so this way I can work on the image here, and I can see the result for the entire composition here. And I can do this again with the 4 composition windows, simply to have different zooms, and maybe I want to turn on my save frames in one of the views so that I can see the animation within to make sure that it's within the save frames, and I also want to see it in this composition without the save frames or grids or guidelines. Now we're going to talk about the flowchart window. The flowchart window can be found in the project window with this button here, and this is the flowchart button, or it can also be found in the composition in the far right corner. By clicking on the flowchart, you can see that the After Effects sets up the files to be read in a certain way. The way that it reads, here, let me collapse these really quick, is this is the main composition, and when we expand it, it goes into our layers, and the layer number is listed here, and you can see that the arrows point back towards the comp, and that's how After Effects will read the information. You can see if we go backwards even more, we have the source file. So here we have the source file, and it goes into the first layer, and then that goes into the composition. You can see here that I have a composition, and here's the composition source file, and that goes into the original composition. Here you see that I have a blue solid that is split into 2 layers, and what that is just, this is the original file, and it takes the original file and places it in this layer, and then it takes another copy of the original file and places it in this layer. You'll see that this line here is very faint, and that means that the actual image or the actual layer is hidden. This is the source file, and it goes in, but the image is hidden, so we get a faint line. And it continues on with the yellow and the red. And you'll notice that the red one is actually the red solid is here, and here's the source file, because inside this composition 2, you'll see that I open it, and it goes from this gray solid goes into the comp 2. So every composition will open up into a more expanded level of the flowchart. You'll notice that I use the red solid in the composition 2 and in composition 1. And because of this, it grabs the source file within the second composition, and then it goes into this layer 2 here and into this composition, but it also bypasses that and goes into the first composition, into layer 7. And we can change the way that we look at this flowchart. We can go from top to bottom, from the bottom to the top, and the way that it shows the arrow pointing is the way that the arrows will be pointing when we rearrange them. And it goes from the source files all the way down to the final composition. We can also choose to show effects or to hide them. I don't have any effects on right now, so we don't see any of that. But if I choose this button here, which is show and hide layers, you'll see that we have our actual, just our source files without the layers shown. And if I click it, we bring up the layers and how they go into the composition.